Bueno, pues muchas gracias, Alberto, y a los panelistas.
Thank you very much, Alberto. And now we move to the next panel. Throughout these three panels, we were able to see the three main pillars of the European audiovisual ecosystem: the business model, the collaboration, and the important topic of finances. And now we have the three last panelists. First of all, we will listen to Ignasi Camós, who is director of the Cinema and Audiovisual Arts Institute. Ignasi.
Buenos días a todas.
Good morning, everyone.
En primer lugar,
first of all, I would like to thank the Ministry of Economic Affairs and Digital Transformation for the invitation to the Ministry of Culture to participate in this panel. At the beginning, the Ministry and First Vice President has explained that the sector digital transformation is very important and that we have a very close relationship from the Ministry of Culture. The Minister of Culture could not come here because he's going to an important presentation in Cáceres, but it would have been nice because Minister Iceta is it's a very good communicator and a fun one. But instead of that, you get me. And in today's session, we were able to listen to different interventions in which we were able to assess the situation of the audiovisual industry in the present context, their strengths and challenges, and in some cases, even weaknesses that we are facing. And as my colleagues before mentioned, we are facing a radical change in the audiovisual sector. We are facing different challenges, different questions with a very rapid and accelerated and significant change. New technologies are offering new opportunities, but there are also risks emerging, which we should take into account. New technologies in the audiovisual sector, without a doubt, and we have been listening to it the whole morning long, are incrementing the investment opportunities. This sector is more open, more accessible, and even more plural. And it's not just a sector with high business capacity, but it is also a sector with a great capacity of promoting culture. We shouldn't forget that there are risks and challenges, and as representative of the Ministry of Culture, I am aware that this new scenario can also bring inequality, manifestation of different cultures, and it is important to take into account that that scenario should not lead to a loss of rights for the creators. Because, well, these changes bring some risks with them. The audiovisual sector and the audiovisual culture, and I'm talking now from the cultural point of view, it's very transformative. It's able to transform society, and it contributes to artistic manifestation as a free, critical and creative expression. It generates identity and community. The audiovisual culture enlarges our knowledge of the world. The audiovisual sector exports the image of different countries, and the changes we are embedded in at the moment are big, and more changes will come. So we believe that it is important that we have a legal framework that on one hand understands the idiosyncrasy of this sector, but on the other hand that establishes tools to respond to the needs in a very effective way. so that every participant, every agent is protected. As you know, the government had a project for a law of cinema. We couldn't move forward with it, but this project of a law of cinema will be revived again as soon as possible, so that we can debate it in our parliament, in Congress. I believe it is important. I don't want to expand on that future law, but I would like to highlight 3 important principles that are incorporated in the law of cinema. As you know, the present law dates back to 2007, and since the changes are very rapid now, we need to adapt the law. And there are 3 main principles. First of all, strengthening and reinforcing the value chain of the creative industry and the audiovisual industry. So this is going to strengthen the whole value chain, and we are going to try and support authors in the scope of IP and trying to prevent risks there. And another principle is the incorporation of new technologies and new formats in the culture, so that we put in value the audiovisual patrimony and the richness of this sector. We will try to give birth to a new rule, a new law that is adjusted and adapted to the needs of the sector. We also know that the law is always coming later than the advancements, but we will try to adapt the law as much as possible to the present needs of the audiovisual sector, especially to the needs of cinema, and trying to prevent possible distortions when developing the activities of this industry. Thank you very much.
Gracias. La siguiente intervención, para la siguiente intervención, contamos con la presencia de Renate Nikolay,
Deputy Director at DG Connect at the European Commission, who has been kind enough to spend this morning with us.
Dear Secretary of State, ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be here, and thank you for inviting me to participate at this event and to bring in the European voice in this debate. I think this event comes at a crucial moment because, as we have heard a lot, there is a change happening for the sector. Change driven by a transition to new digital models, new technology, new players on the market, a new dimension of consolidation and of competitiveness and internationalization. And in this transitional change, we have to define our own answer. There is no reason for despair, but there is a reason to engage actively and with ambition. And I think that's what we have heard in today's roundtables discussion, that there is a good reason to engage together and with ambition. Let me go through the issues that we have discussed here today. First, consolidation and scaling. This is key for the competitiveness in the long run of the sector. A lot has been said how new consumption habits and new business opportunities have driven companies to diversify, to compete on similar segments for consumers' attention, and to consolidate in order to gather revenues. The entry ticket for the 100 top audiovisual companies active in Europe is increasingly expensive. In our data collection exercise with the Media Industry Outlook, we underlined that these 100 companies have been consistently growing twice as much as the overall audiovisual market. And unsurprisingly, our American competitors rank high here and have been successful in distribution and in developing new activities to continue growing and scaling, lately with games and sports, as you know also very well here in Spain. in this context, one of the first takeaways from today here is that in the European Union, we have the capacity to join forces more, and we must do so in order to scale up and to enter this race. We have heard the case of Wildside and Fremantle, but there are other scaling models too. We have heard the case of public broadcasters pooling sources together with players like to co-produce Swarm. It shows that we have the capacity to kind of, cooperate better in a different way without compromising our cultural autonomy and without compromising our respect and support for independent production. We have avenues to build vertical models, to cultivate our singularity, and to continue recounting our own stories, whether big or small. Second, the cross-media collaboration in the industry. Our data indicates that the concentration effect that we used to know in TV and in theaters now also shows elsewhere. Regarding on-demand platforms, on European video-on-demand platforms, 0.2% of films or series capture 28% of viewing time. Companies are capitalizing on these concentrated and loyal audiences. We only need to look at a dizzying number of film franchises produced over the past years. And more recently, this trend of film franchising is morphing into one of the transmedia franchising. It's no longer just about bringing books on the big screen. Series, video games, animation, toys, or comic books are now common adaptations. What does this all mean for our industry? Well, first, we have to build on and exploit our cultural references, our creations. It does not mean turning our back to creativity. It means ensuring that our stories can live on. That has been the strategy of European actors in the scene, such as the team behind Three Musketeers, released this year in multiple formats and on multiple supports. And second, the rise of transmedia content means that we need our talents to further collaborate across industry. The skills developed in the gaming and animation sectors, for example, will be key as virtual and synthetic productions take off. And the virtual sets developed in one industry can be monetized in another. Third, investment. Investment is an issue for the industry, in particular as markets are firmly globalizing. The gaming industry knows no border, nor will extended reality, immersive experiences when they become more mature. Europe can play its part in bringing actors together. I see we are, for instance, slowly bridging the gap between financial institutions and audiovisual companies. There is increasing investment readiness on the one hand and increasing understanding of the assets of the audiovisual sector on the other. We are also bridging borders, pooling resources and capacities in between companies. But we have to go also into equity, and that's why I'm so proud to be part later today of the first signing of the European Investment Fund of agreements with financial institutions that multiply financing opportunities for audiovisual companies. One of these agreements is the first Media Invest Agreement. This is our new, as we have heard, EU equity tool, co-financed by two European landmark programs, InvestEU and Creative Europe. This Media Invest tool should ultimately channel 400 million euros of private investment into audiovisual production and distribution. And as we have heard earlier, we believe this can have a signaling effect to actually get more private investors and more risk capital into the market, and this is what we need. And finally, we see that some European member states are seeing the strategic dimension of the sector, such as Spain, which is unparalleled and ambitious audiovisual hub plan. I strongly welcome, this is a best example, and I recommend it for others to be followed. So what's the future, and what's the role of the European Union? I think we are at a moment where we really have to design a strategic vision for the sector of the future. That's why we have, under the leadership of Commissioner Breton, started a discussion process on the key parameters, IP rights in the future, technological developments, investment, new business models. We are conducting roundtables, as we do also here in the context of the festival here. We need a vision so that we merge the dimensions of the strategic importance of the sector as an industrial sector and, of course, also the cultural element of the sector. We need a vision whereby we can create European champions working really globally, nationally, domestically, but as European champions, whilst also supporting and continue to support independent production. So you have, with the European Commission, with us here, a partner in trying to develop this European strategy for this important sector together, building on very good initiatives like the one in Spain. It seems that this is the place to be now for the audiovisual sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Para concluir, las últimas palabras, contamos por parte del Ministerio de Asuntos Económicos y Transformación Digital con
María González Veracruz, who is the Secretary of State for Telecommunications and Digital Infrastructures, whenever you want.
Muy buenas tardes. Creo que no se puede ni imaginar.
You cannot imagine. The Vice President this morning was speaking about how moved she was. I mean, you cannot imagine how thrilled and moved we are in our department today.
Realmente se está viviendo una
It
revolución,
is true that
una gran transformación en el
this is a
sector.
revelation, a
Y creo
huge
que podemos decir
transformation in the
que
sector.
España
And today
está
we
ahí.
can say that
España
Spain
está
is
ahí
there
aportando
where it has to be
con una
making an
gran
important
importancia
contribution
la Unión Europea.
in the European
Así que
Union.
gracias, Ignasi,
So
por
thank
supuesto, por
you,
estar aquí con nosotros, querido.
for being here
Thanks
with
a lot,
us.
Renate, for being here, for your generous work for us. Estoy completamente segura de que
I am
con
100%
esté
sure
aquí hoy con
that
nosotros, habrá un futuro
the
en el que
future
ya estamos
ahead
trabajando,
of us
pero que
is
traerá
very
muchísimos
bright.
éxitos.
And I am
Nuestra
completely sure
construcción
about our
del ecosistema
success
audiovisual
in
europeo,
building this
en el que hoy hemos
European
podido hablar de consolidación,
ecosystem,
de
where we have
colaboración y
been
de
talking about
financiación, y es tan
consolidation,
importante para
financing, cooperation, which
Permitidme que
are
empiece
very
por una parte
important.
que me
Let
parece
me start
fundamental,
by something which is
agradecimiento.
essential. And I would like to say
Muchísimas gracias a todos
thank you
los que estáis
to
aquí esta
all of
mañana.
you
Ha
here
generado
this
una gran
morning.
expectación
This has generated
este debate,
huge
que estas jornadas
expectation.
que me proponían, donde
This
decía aquí la
event,
persona que me la proponía,
when
que lo repitamos,
Yes,
Cristina, a lo largo de los
Christina,
años,
this is
precisamente
something
en el
that we
marco
have
del
to
Festival de San
reproduce.
Sebastián.
It was
Hay
great
espacios en
to organize
Cannes,
this here.
espacios en
There
Venecia,
are venues
pero
in
parece adecuado
Cannes
que
and in
nos
Venice,
planteemos
but I think that
seguir
we
manteniendo este tipo de
here,
debates
we
que
also
parecen
need
tan
to
positivos y tan
develop
productivos en futuros festivales de San
fruitful
Sebastián. Así que
debates such as this
muchísimas
one
gracias a
in
los
San
más de
Sebastián. So thank you to
200
the more than
inscritos que habéis estado aquí
200
en esta
people
sala,
who
pero
have
en
been
la de al lado,
participating
y
at
todas
this
las personas
event
que nos
here
habéis
next
seguido
door. Thank you
por
to all
streaming.
of you
Esperamos
following
sinceramente que
us
os haya
through the
parecido tan
streaming
productiva como a
service.
nosotros.
I
Y
hope
habéis
that you
podido
have
hacer
enjoyed it
mucho
as
network.
much as
Y muy
ourselves,
especialmente gracias
and
a todos
that
los
you
equipos
have
de la
been
Secretaría
able
de
to
Estado de
benefit from
Telecomunicaciones.
the
Lo
networking
quiero
approach. Thank
ejemplarizar
you,
en Cristina Morales,
Cristina
y por supuesto también en
Morales.
Paco, que ha
Thank
hecho
you,
las
Paco,
labores de conductor,
who
pero en todos
has
los
been
equipos también de
coordinating
comunicación,
this event.
que al
Thank you
final
to the
son nuestros pies,
communication
nuestras manos, sobre todo
department,
nuestras neuronas,
who are essential,
para que el
who are
plan
the
España
brain
Hub Audiovisual de Europa
to
sea hoy
make
una
this
realidad
plan, to
que
turn this
empieza a
plan
darnos
into
esos
a
frutos que empezamos a
reality
visualizar,
that is
pero que estoy
starting
segura
to
que, como decía la
bear fruit.
vicepresidenta,
As the
iremos
Vice
viendo
President was saying,
exponencialmente
I
a lo
am
largo
sure
de
that
los
we
años.
have once again
Es un
a bright
verdadero
future ahead of
orgullo
us.
poder
I feel
promover
very
este
proud
debate tan
being able
importante para
to
España
debate
en
this
este
debate,
festival,
which is
con
essential
estas
for
conclusiones
Spain in
tan
this festival,
inspiradoras,
coming
y hacerlo además
up
en el
to
marco
highly
de la
inspiring
presidencia española
conclusions
del Consejo
within
de
the
la Unión Europea,
framework of this
donde además
Spanish
tendremos
presidency,
nuestro Consejo
where
Informal
we
de
are going to be
Telecomunicaciones a
having our
finales de octubre en Lyon.
communications
Y en
meeting
esta idea
at
de
the end of October
convergencia
in
que
Lyon.
defendemos de los sectores,
Convergence
estoy segura que estos
among
debates también
sectors.
tendrán
And I
un
am sure
papel
that this
importante.
debate will continue
Solo
there.
terminar este
Let
capítulo de
me
agradecimientos
finish by
agradeciendo
saying thank
la
you
alta calidad, la profesionalidad
for
y toda la
your
experiencia que han puesto al servicio del
professionality
sector
and
esta mañana.
for
Los ponentes excepcionales
the
que nos habéis
effort and
acompañado.
for the
Considero
contribution of
sinceramente,
our
lo he comentado con
speakers.
algunas personas,
We were
que
speaking
hemos
about it
lanzado un
before.
mensaje
We
de
have
optimismo,
launched a
de
message of
confianza
optimism,
en nuestro
trust and
sector, que
confidence
es un
in
inmenso
our
orgullo, pero sobre
sector.
todo una garantía de presente
we feel so proud of, and which is a guarantee for the future. Thank you to all of you members of this sector. Thank you to all of you. I'm in love with our cinema, with our series, because I am convinced that thanks to your capacity of storytelling using different formats, you are able to change our lives. You make us better citizens. You make us think and evade ourselves, which is something very necessary. Okay, so I occupy a political position, but I am completely honest. We are making our best. And it is true that maybe the past was different and we were not as convinced as today. So once again, I feel very proud of all of you. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your effort. This cultural wealth, which is your contribution, is not only mere cultural, it also is important in terms of employment, in terms of job creation, just as Eva H. said when we opened this festival. And that is so because we are trying to put all the tools that are necessary so that we all together can keep on going, creating this brand and trademark of Spain, which is going to give us a prestige and sense and opportunities through the Spanish language. It is moving to see the repercussion of our productions, listening to your anecdotes and how you have been building your products. It was very fun to know about, Tadeo, the Snow Girl, or the Three Musketeers. Thank you for sharing all that with us. And it is an honor that the most important international partners, when they say to us what Renate just said, Spain is the place to be. Let me tell you that we were at the Mobile World Congress, and suddenly I saw the depth and the importance of what we were creating and building together. So today, as most of you know, let me once again tell you that from our department, our heart is there. We want to keep on listening to all of you. Yes, the government is there. We want to be there supporting you in this reinvention process so that we can participate in this revolution, in this transformation of the sector. I am convinced that this is the ideal moment. This is an ideal situation. I'm sure that you agree. I am convinced that we are promoting and defending the right model, which is the model coming from the European Commission. Audiovisuals depend from DG Connect, just as we have also designed in Spain. And I hope that we can even go beyond in the European ecosystem and to become a benchmark to be followed by our neighbors, because it is bearing fruit. And just a couple more ideas. So what is our success? Yes, I was speaking to Rebordinos. You are a powerful sector, a solid sector. And then we are also generating synergies from this audiovisual hub. Because the truth is that this has not been simple. It hasn't been simple to make a cultural plan being part of the digital Spain agenda. Because without the digital strength and solidity that we have here, in Spain, this wouldn't be possible. ICAA is multiplying its resources, and we have also been supporting and underpinning that with our direct funding, trying to also help the metaverse and different companies in their digitalization approach. We want to create a great audiovisual network so as to provide better opportunities also
relevante.
for all of you.
Por lo tanto, para
So
mí el secreto
therefore,
está en esa combinación,
that is the
pero sobre todo en haber
secret,
sido
that
capaces
combination, and the
de
fact
generar
of
esas
having been
sinergias
able
y esa
to
colaboración
create those synergies and
público-privada, y por eso estoy tan
that
convencida de que era
private-public
importante
partnership.
enmarcar estas
And that is
jornadas
why
en el
this
ámbito de la
event
presidencia
had to
de
be
la Unión Europea, y
taking
estoy
place
segura que de
at
aquí,
this
de
moment,
nuestras
in these
conversaciones,
moments of
saldrán
Spanish
decisiones que afecten
presidency
a todo
of the
el
Council.
ecosistema. Desde luego, todos los ejes, todas las
Those
ideas que han ido
ideas
desarrollándose, las
that
cuestiones
we have been
que han ido
developing and that you
desarrollándose a lo
have
largo de
been
las
sharing
jornadas
with
están
us,
absolutamente alineadas
all
con
that
el plan.
is
Y ahora
aligned,
que no nos
line in
escucha
line
nadie,
with the plan.
tiene
And
un
now
principal
that
secreto.
nobody hears,
Este
I
plan no
can tell you
sería
that there is
posible
a secret,
sin la
because
gran
this plan
convicción de la vicepresidenta
wouldn't
primera
be possible,
y responsable económica, pero también
wouldn't
del
be
presidente
possible
del
without the
gobierno.
engagement
Muchísimo
of
mejor
the
dicho, que además ha
President
hecho
of the government,
misiones a
who
otras
has
partes del
been
mundo a
traveling
contar nuestras
to
capacidades y
different
atraer
European regions
inversión,
so as to
y que
attract
ha
investments,
conseguido
and who
algo que a mí me
has
parece
been
lógico,
able
querido Ignasi,
to make
que es
magic.
ponernos en la misma dirección a
He
13
has
ministerios
aligned
de la Administración
13
General del
ministries
Estado, que los que
in
no conocen
Spain,
sabéis que
in
tienen
our government.
gran
And
mérito.
as you know,
Así que
that is something that
creo,
we
como
should be
decía, que estamos
applauding.
consiguiendo
So, once
juntos esta gran
again, we
promoción
all
de
together
la producción
were
audiovisual,
being
que por eso
able
vamos a
to
conseguir
promote
el gran
our
objetivo
audiovisual
de
sector,
aumentar
and
en
we
un
are going to
30%
make
la
it happen,
producción
which is to
en
expand
2025.
production by 30% in the year
Impulsando
2025. All that by
impulsando y, por
promoting,
supuesto, no solo
and
reconociendo, sino
boosting, and
invirtiendo
acknowledging,
directamente en las distintas
investing
profesiones relacionadas
directly
con
in
la
the different
producción, no solo
sectors,
cine, que también, y
not
series de televisión, que
only
también, documentales,
cinema,
cortos,
series,
videojuegos y
documentaries,
animación,
shorts,
pero
video games, and
contribuyendo a la
animation,
digitalización
contributing
del
also
sector y
to
las
the
competencias digitales de los
digitalization of the
profesionales.
sector
Me parece muy importante
and
remarcar,
contributing
además
to
me lo ha
the
pedido la
digital
vicepresidenta,
skills.
porque
The Vice
ha sido una de las cosas
President
que no
has asked
incluido en su
me
discurso.
to
La
stress
propia
this.
digitalización de radio y televisión
The
española, con
digitalization
la
of
aportación desde la
Spanish
Secretaría de Estado de ni más ni menos
television
que 20 millones de euros
with the
a la
contribution
app
of
de radio y televisión
20
española,
million
el programa
euros
de
coming
formación del
from us,
talento que
or we
está
have also
formando a más
designed
de 20.000
a
profesionales,
program
programa
to
de radio y
train
televisión
our different
española.
experts in
Y
terms of
termino, por eso
digitalization.
casi
And
termino,
let me
me falta la otra idea
finish.
grande. Por eso os pido que mientras
That is
seguimos
why I
juntos,
would like to
dos
ask
cosas.
you
Por un lado, lo
something.
demos a
Two things.
conocer,
First,
porque
let's
creo que el plan
spread and
nos tenemos que
share
sentir
this
orgullosos
plan.
colectivamente,
This is a
porque es una
plan that
cuestión
we
de
all
seguridad
should
público-privada y que
be
no se entendería y la
proud
fortaleza
of,
del sector, pero sobre todo porque creo que
because it is essential
creyéndonoslo
in
y
terms
teniendo
of
esa
that
ambición
private-public
colectiva, estoy segura
partnership.
de
We
que
need
podemos
that
conseguir
collective
retos o
ambition.
éxitos,
Only like
pues,
that
del
we will
calibre de lo que
be
estamos
able
consiguiendo,
to
pero
succeed,
exponencialmente
and we will
muchísimos
be able
más.
to go further.
Y termino con la última
I
idea.
finish with
La
this
producción audiovisual
last
es sin duda
idea.
un arte,
Audiovisual production
pero es
is
una
an
palanca generadora de
art,
riqueza.
and it
Y al
generates
final, la última mesa lo
wealth.
decía muy claramente. Aquí lo
It
que hace
is
falta es
evident.
inversión.
We need
Y yo creo que es
investment,
nuestra mayor
and
garantía, ¿no? La
that
financiación, que
is
hemos movilizado ya
essential. Yes, all
1,2
the
millones de euros.
1.2
Pero es que hay un dato que no quería no
million
decir esta
euros
mañana,
have already been
porque yo no he
mobilized.
sido consciente hasta este fin
And I
de
wasn't
semana,
conscious
querida Renate.
about it
Somos
up
el único
until this
país
weekend. We
de la Unión
are the
Europea
only
que ha
European
dedicado
country
fondos
that
Next
has
Generation
dedicated
al sector
next generation funds for the
Para mí,
audiovisual
que bueno,
sector.
algunos lo sabéis, llevo un año de Secretaría de Estado.
I
Yo
have
creía
been
que
here
el
for
resto de países de la
1
Unión
year,
Europea estaban haciendo lo
and I
mismo que nosotros.
thought that elsewhere
Y este
they
fin de
were
semana,
doing the same.
visualizándolo, para
And
mí ha
only
cobrado
this
todavía
weekend
mayor
I
importancia
realized that
en
we
esto,
have
que
been
os
the first
defiendo
and only
con
ones.
convicción. Y hay otro
And
dato
there
muy importante
is
que aunque ya lo he
another
resaltado,
element
que es
which is very
la
important,
preocupación que
and
desde
it
el
is
gobierno o la
how
convicción de que
concerned
desde el
we are
gobierno tenemos
and
que
how
conseguir que
convinced
toda esta
we are
apuesta
about the
pública y de financiación
importance
pública sea
of
sostenible en el tiempo. Por eso es tan
making
importante
this
la labor del
partnership
fondo, que
sustainable
está
in the
a
long
punto de
run.
llegar,
And that is
esperemos,
why
de más de
the
1.500
fund,
millones de
which
euros en
represents
préstamos,
more than
que le agradezco muy sinceramente,
1.5
Carlos,
million euros,
vuestro
is going to be
compromiso
essential.
público
Thank you very
para
much for
su
your
gestión.
engagement,
Y ahora sí que
making it possible,
termino.
that fund.
Son
And now
conocidos por
I
vosotros
finish. You all know
las tasas fiscales,
about the
la
tax
competitividad que tenemos
rebates,
gracias
our
a las decisiones, las
competitiveness,
barreras administrativas que
also
hemos
thanks
eliminado,
to
la
the different
facilidad,
barriers
visado,
that have
por
been
supuesto, nuestras
eliminated, etc.,
infraestructuras.
etc.
¿Qué voy a decir de la
You know
cualificación de los
about our
profesionales, el
infrastructures,
clima, el paisaje?
you know about
Y, por
our
supuesto, de nuestra
landscape,
lengua?
our weather,
Yo
and
quiero ser muy
about
rotunda
our
cuando os digo
language.
que tenéis
Let
todo
me
nuestro
tell
apoyo
you, you
en el
have
gobierno
our
español.
full support from the government of Spain. We want that investment to be and to become even bigger. We want to be that European audiovisual hub. We want to be a benchmark. Thank you very much, Renate, for your support. We want to keep on building all together this Europe. Yes, all together. We want to have a brighter future through the development, joint development of all our potential. I don't know if Paco has... Yes, Paco is going to tell us about the cocktail. Thank you very much. Let's keep on building this together.
Muchas gracias, Secretaria de Estado. Sí, os comento, el cóctel que
Yes, cocktail.
hay que salir.
We will be coming out of this room, then turn right,
hasta la esquina.
and then we will go to Munca. Munca.
Allí será el
We will be leaving the
Podéis ir
Cursal
despacito,
Hall.
pasando.
It is just,
Nos
a
vemos
few
allí.
meters
Muchas gracias a todos y a
away.
todas por
Thank you once
asistir a esta
again
jornada. Es que ricasco.
for your participation.